What does it take for a single act of spite to unravel a life? In the quiet town of Willow Creek, where dusty roads wound through sprawling ranches and tight-knit neighborhoods, a single moment of rage set off a chain of events that no one could have predicted. It began with a truck, a can of paint, and a woman named Karen, whose name would soon become synonymous with regret. The sun hung low over my ranch, casting golden streaks across the fields where my horses grazed. My truck, a battered but beloved Chevy, sat parked by the barn, its faded blue paint a testament to years of hard work. I'm Javier Morales, a third-generation rancher, and that truck was more than metal. It was my partner in hauling feed, fixing fences, and keeping this land alive. Across the road lay the new Willow Creek Estates, a gated community with manicured lawns and a homeowners association that ruled with an iron fist. Karen Whitaker, the HOA president, was its self-appointed queen. Karen was a force of nature, her sharp voice cutting through neighborhood meetings like a whip. She'd moved to Willow Creek 2 years ago, fleeing the city with her husband, Greg, and a chip on her shoulder the size of Texas. She had a habit of sending scathing letters about unmowed lawns or unapproved mailbox designs, and I'd been on the receiving end more than once. My ranch, with its weathered fences and free-roaming chickens, was an eyesore to her vision of suburban perfection. "Your property lowers our home values, Javier," she'd snapped at a town hall, her manicured nails tapping impatiently. I shrugged it off. Live and let live, right? But that morning, as I sipped coffee on my porch, I saw her silver SUV screech to a halt by my driveway. Karen stormed out, her face red, clutching a can of bright red paint. I set my mug down, heart sinking. She'd been hounding me about my truck, claiming it was unsightly parked so close to her precious community. I'd ignored her, thinking she'd tire herself out. I was wrong. "Why do you insist on ruining everything?" she shouted, her voice carrying across the still morning. Before I could respond, she pried open the paint can and hurled its contents at my truck. Crimson splattered across the hood, dripping like blood onto the gravel. My jaw dropped. This wasn't just a tantrum, it was war. I bolted toward her, yelling, "Karen, what the hell?" She didn't flinch, her eyes blazing with defiance. "Maybe now you'll move that junk heap," she spat, tossing the empty can onto my lawn. Neighbors peeked from their windows, phones already recording. Karen didn't care. She climbed into her SUV and sped off, leaving me staring at my ruined truck, paint fumes stinging my nose.
Cooled ve let it go.
I could have scrubbed the paint off, laughed it off as the act of a woman unhinged. But something in me snapped. That truck wasn't just a vehicle, it was my father's before it was mine, a symbol of our family's grit. I wasn't about to let Karen's spite slide. By noon, I was at the sheriff's office, filing a vandalism report. Deputy Lylan Gwynn, a sharp young officer who'd grown up in Willow Creek, took my statement with a raised eyebrow. "Karen Whitaker? The HOA lady?" she asked, scribbling notes. "She's been a pain, but this is next level." Lila promised to investigate, but I wasn't done. I called my cousin, Elena, a lawyer in Austin who specialized in small-town disputes. "Javier," she said, her voice crackling over the phone. "We're suing her for damages, emotional and material. Get me photos and witnesses." The next week was a blur. Elena filed a lawsuit against Karen for vandalism and emotional distress, seeking $15,000 for the truck's repair and my mental anguish. The neighbors' videos posted on X went viral in Willow Creek, racking up thousands of views. Comments flooded in, "Karen's lost it," and "Justice for Javier's truck." Karen, meanwhile, doubled down. At the next HOA meeting, she stood at the podium, her blonde bob quivering with indignation. "That truck was a blight," she declared. "I was protecting our community's image." The room erupted in boos. Her reign was cracking. Enter Marcus Tate, the twist I didn't see coming. Marcus was a quiet man, a landscaper who'd worked for the HOA under Karen's iron rule. He was always in the background, trimming hedges or repairing sprinklers, his weathered hands steady as he avoided her wrath. But after the paint incident, Marcus approached me at the feed store his eyes nervous. "Javier," he whispered. "I've got something you need to hear." He pulled out his phone and played a recordinga voicemail from Karen, left weeks earlier, ordering him to do something about that eyesore truck or lose his job. Marcus hadn't acted, but the voicemail was damning. Proved Karen's vendetta was premeditated. "Why come forward now?" I asked, stunned. Marcus sighed, rubbing his neck. "She fired me yesterday. Said I was disloyal. I've got a kid to feed, Javier. If you're taking her down, I'm in." His courage shifted everything. Elena added the recording to our case, arguing it showed malicious intent. The lawsuit grew teeth. The trial was a spectacle. Willow Creek's courthouse, usually sleepy, buzzed with locals packing the benches. Karen, dressed in a crisp blazer, played the victim, claiming she'd lost control under the stress of her HOA duties. Elena tore her apart, presenting the paint-splattered truck photos, the viral videos, and Marcus's voicemail. The judge, a no-nonsense woman named Clara Hensley, wasn't impressed. "Ms. Whitaker," she said, her voice icy, "your actions weren't just reckless, they were vindictive." The verdict: Karen owed me $12,000 for damages and repairs. The courtroom cheered. But the fallout didn't end there. The HOA board, humiliated by the scandal, voted Karen out as president. Her reputation in tatters. She lost her side gig managing county landscaping bits, a role she'd leveraged to bully contractors like Marcus. The county banned her from future bids, citing unprofessional conduct. Karen's perfect world crumbled, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel a twinge of satisfaction. Yet, as weeks passed, that satisfaction soured. I'd won, but at what cost? The truck was repainted, good as new, but every time I drove it, I saw Karen's face, twisted with rage. I started noticing things I hadn't before: her husband, Greg, leaving their house at odd hours, their marriage strained. Whispers around town said Karen was unraveling, holed up in her mansion, shunned by neighbors she'd once lorded over. One evening, I saw her at the gas station, her eyes hollow, loading paint cans into her SUV. Not red this time, white, as if she meant to erase something, or everything. Then came the final twist, the one that broke me. Lila, the deputy, called me late one night. "Javier, you need to know something," she said, her voice heavy. Karen had been found in her garage, surrounded by those white paint cans, passed out from fumes. She'd been trying to repaint her own house, alone in the dark. She survived, but Greg left her, and the HOA foreclosed on their home. Karen moved away, a ghost of the woman who'd once terrorized Willow Creek. I sat on my porch that night, staring at my truck, the stars above unyielding. I'd wanted justice, and I'd gotten it. But justice felt hollow when it left someone so broken. Karen's spite had cost her everything: her job, her status, her home. And me? I was left with a pristine truck and a heart full of questions. Had I pushed too far? Could I have stopped at the sheriff's report, spared her the lawsuit? The ranch was quiet, the horses asleep, but my mind roared. Sometimes winning feels like losing. Nd.